of various education commissions during British India. 1. The Indian Education Commission. The Indian Education Commission, also known as the Hunter Commission, was set up in 1882 to inquire into the state of education in India and make recommendations for its improvement. 2. The Scottish Educational Commission. The Scottish Educational Commission was a commission set up in 1867 to inquire into the state of education in Scotland and make recommendations for its improvement. 3. The University of London's Syndicate for Medical and Dental Instruction in India. The University of London's Syndicate for Medical and Dental Instruction in India was set up in 1858 to make recommendations for providing medical and dental education in India. 4. Murray's Committee on Indian Schools. Murray's Committee on Indian Schools was a committee set up in 1858 to inquire into the state of education in the British colonies and make recommendations for its improvement. 5. Macaulay's Minute on Education. Macaulay's Minute on Education was a document issued by the British colonial government in India in 1835 which laid out the policy of promoting Western-style education in India. 6. The Woods Dispatch. The Woods Dispatch was a document issued by the British government in 1854 that called for establishing a public education system in India. 7. The Hunter Commission. The Hunter Commission was a commission set up in 1882 to inquire into the state of education in India and make recommendations for its improvement. 8. The Royal Commission on Indian Universities. The Royal Commission on Indian Universities was set up in 1902 to inquire into the working of the existing universities in India and make recommendations for their reform. Different committees and commissions of higher education in India. Radhakrishnan Commission, 1948-1949. This was the first education commission post-independence that was commissioned in 1948. It was commissioned under the able leadership of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Radhakrishnan Commission is also known as University Education Commission. It suggested the integration of secondary education and higher education by setting up UGC. It was set up to inquire into the requirements of higher education in India. To develop democratic values, peace and harmony. Put forward recommendations for the reorganization of university education in the light of the requirements of the country and its traditions. To develop great personalities who can give their contributions in politics, administration, industry and commerce. Kothari Commission, 1964-1966. National Education Commission, 1964-1966, popularly known as Kothari Commission, was an ad hoc commission set up by the Government of India to examine all aspects of the educational sector in India, to evolve a general pattern of education, and to advise guidelines and policies for the development of education in India. It was formed on the 14th of July 1964 under the chairmanship of Daulat Singh Kothari, then chairman of the University Grants Commission. The terms of reference of the Commission were to formulate the general principles and guidelines for the development of education from the primary level to the highest and advise the government on a standardized national pattern of education in India. However, the medical and legal studies were excluded from the purview of the Commission. The Kothari Commission's report focused on education and national development. The tenancy of the Commission was from 1964 to 1966 and the report was submitted by the Commission on the 29th of June 1966. Acharya Narendra Deva Committee. This was concerned with education and its organization in relation to political and constitutional conditions and potentialities of progress. The terms of reference imposed serious limitations on the committee and narrowed down the scope of its inquiry. The committee, however, actually surveyed the educational policy of the government, studied the salient facts of the present system of education, examined the cognate problems and the effect of political reforms on the educational progress of the country, pointed out the defects and weaknesses of the system and made recommendations for its improvement. The committee submitted its report to His Majesty's government in 1929. The report is a valuable document and being the first in the field. Mudaliar Commission. The Secondary Education Commission, known as Mudaliar Commission, was appointed by the Government of India in terms of their resolution to bring changes in the present education system and make it better for the nation. Dr. A. Lakshmanswamy Mudaliar was the Vice-Chancellor of Madras University. The National Policy on Education, 1986. In 1986, a new national policy on education was introduced by Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. This policy called for special emphasis on the removal of disparities and to equalize educational opportunity, especially for Indian women, ST and SC communities. The policy introduced an open university system in order to expand the opportunity of access to higher education with the Indira Gandhi National Open University, which had been created in 1985. The NPE called for a child-centered approach in primary education and launched Operation Blackboard to improve primary schools nationwide. Knowledge Commission. The Knowledge Commission, was also known as THE, National Knowledge Commission, was a think tank of policies that aimed to improve the knowledge-intensive service sectors. This commission was created on the 13th of June 2005 by the former Prime Minister of India, Manmohan Singh. The main recommendations of this commission were: creation of universities. The commission aimed to expand the Indian education system. It suggested the creation of approximately 1,500 universities by the year 2015 by partly restructuring the existing universities. The committee recommended the establishment of 50 new national universities and a nationalization of higher education. These national universities will give admission to eligible students of India. Achieve excellence. There should be efforts to retain talented faculty members with better working conditions and incentives according to the performance. It is important to keep a standard preference to promote and achieve excellence. Creation of regulatory institutions. The Commission recommended the creation of IRAHE, an independent regulatory authority for higher education. The National Knowledge Commission has recommended setting up IRAHE, which would help to reduce current barriers to entry. National Educational Policy 2020. The objective of New Education Policy 2020 (NEP) announced by the Ministry of Human Resource Development is to bring in changes in the current, dying 34-year-old policy in schools and higher education systems in the country. The new policy is more practical in approach and is based on the ground reality of the country's education scenario that puts more emphasis on the creativity and innovation as well as personality development of the students rather than expecting them to score high and mock up the content without getting a basic grasp of concepts. Some of the important features of NEP. The idea of a 10+2 board examination structure has been dropped and it will reduce the dropout rates of students from the schools. The new structures that will be implemented in place of point 1 will be 5+3+3+4, which comes as a big relief and would prove revolutionary. The levels of studies have been put in simple and focused categories. Preschool up to class 5. Middle school class 6 to 8 as before. High school class 9 to 12. Degree class 12 onwards. The vocational training will start from class 6 and will give more exposure to the students from an early age. The students can choose their respective favorite subjects from class 8 to 12 and it will provide them with a platform to do specialization in subjects they have chosen. The duration of all graduation courses would be 4 years, thus giving ample time for students to master their respective subjects.